Hey folks, this is the kind of legislative updates recap synopsis for the week here. First, we'll start with the president's executive order on coal. Yeah, the coal, and look, nobody burns coal and uses coal more cleanly than the United States of America. And of course, Pennsylvania, even though in Dillsburg there's not a lot of coal mines, but in Pennsylvania there are a lot. And it's great for America. It's necessary for the production of steel, and it's low cost energy. It can be used cleanly and lower your energy cost. And it's been under assault for years and years now, putting many of those companies in Pennsylvania out of business. And so the president signed an executive order trying to protect coal and allow its utilization for power production and so many other things. And I'm fully in support of it. So I think that's awesome, and that's why it should matter to you. We had an oversight hearing on the FDA rooting out illicit pharmaceutical products. You might say, well, why does it matter? Well, unfortunately, the vast majority of our pharmaceutical products, whether it's the products themselves or the precursors, the things that they're made of, are made overseas, particularly in China and India. In China's case, of course, an adversary. We don't want to be reliant upon them. And we want to bring that business back home to the United States of America. So not only do we not have to rely on our enemies, but we can trust what we're taking. Unfortunately, one of the byproducts of this is that there are illicit things that are manufactured and people believe in them. They get them on the internet, they get them through the mail, and they're unsafe, they're unreliable, and that's not a good situation to be in. The United States spend more on healthcare than any other country, and our life expectancy is 78, while other developed countries are 82 years old. So there's a disconnect there. We should be able to have the best and the longest life expectancy of all westernized countries, and also the most affordable healthcare, and we have neither, and this is one of the problems. So we had a hearing on that, and got some answers. We also voted on H.R. 1526, which is the No Rogue Ruling Act. As you know, we have judges that are issuing nationwide injunctions, but they're not the Supreme Court. They're not nationwide judges. They are federal judges, but that's not how it was designed to be. If there was a plaintiff that is aggrieved by some decision, then that's the plaintiff's issue to take to the court and seek relief. But it was not meant to be that these individual circuit judges can issue nationwide injunctions, and this would limit that ability so that the courts stay in their lane. We have Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. Article 1, of course, is the legislative branch, 2 is the executive branch, 3 is the courts, but they need to stay in their lane, and that's why we have the separation of powers, but they're not supposed to be deciding things like whether the president can use the Alien Enemies Act to deal with alien enemies. And of course they have, and he's won 2 cases at the Supreme Court just this week over that, and I suspect that there will be more because the judges continue. We passed this in the House, and we'll see if the Senate can take it up and pass it. I sure hope they can, so that everybody stays in their lane. And then finally, well, not finally, but importantly, the budget resolution on the reconciliation. So this is the next step in what we call the reconciliation process, when budgets don't equal each other, when spending outstrips the revenue, that's unequal. We need to reconcile that and bring it together. The House passed its bill some time ago. The Senate just passed them. Unfortunately, they were very far apart. We think that we need to preserve the taxes where they are so that taxes don't go up, but we also know that we need to get the government right-sized, and we're spending too much money, over $2 trillion every year, more than what we take in. And so the House's budget said that $1.5 to $2.5 trillion in savings could be achieved this year. Unfortunately, the Senate's resolution said that only $4 billion. So you got 1.5 to 2.7 trillion to 4 billion, a big difference there. Negotiations went on right up until the last minute. We got assurances from the Senate, from House leadership, and from the president that we're not going to deficit spend in these budgets moving forward. So now we're able to work on the reconciliation itself under that framework of making sure taxes don't go up, making sure we fund our Border Patrol, making sure we fund our military, but also making sure taxes don't go up while making sure that we don't spend more money than we receive in revenue and continue to put this country into further debt. And so I was, after the negotiations concluded, I was able to vote yes with those assurances. Now we're going to have to work to get to those assurances, but this advances that process forward, I'm happy to say. And then finally, we heard of a recent poll which shows that 88% of Americans want more transparency around government unions. These are not private sector unions, these are public sector unions. So one of the things with public sector unions is that your tax dollars pay for that union representation. So what does that mean? So if you're hired at the VA as a practitioner, you can spend 100% of your time being paid for by the taxpayers as a practitioner, but spend 100% of your time doing union work. And most people, if nothing else, first of all, a lot of people don't agree with that practice. We need practitioners at the VA. That's what we're paying for, and we need our veterans to be taken care of. But they also want transparency. They want to know. So I've got a bill that passed, which is called the Protecting the Taxpayer's Wallet Act, which fixes that, which provides that transparency. The last administration didn't even report. We don't even know how many hours federal employees spent doing union activity while they're being paid by taxpayers. So that's the first step. We need to know at least what that looks like, and then is that appropriate? Is it not appropriate? That type of thing. So I just thought I'd inform you of that. That bill was passed out of committee. It'll come to the House floor, and then we'll see what its fate is after that. That's the recap for the week. A lot of big news, of course, with tariffs and other things on the presidential side, but on the legislative side, that's what we got accomplished. Finally, we did pass the SAVE Act, which requires all Americans who are voting to be American citizens. So if you're going to go to the polls and vote in federal elections, the SAVE Act says you must be verified to be a citizen. It's currently against the law to vote if you're not a citizen, but there is no enforcement. And so the SAVE Act was passed to provide that enforcement. I think it's a great idea, and I hope it gets taken up in the Senate. So I hope you have a great weekend and a great holiday. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.